Let's start in the conservation sector. Conservation efforts right across Africa are going to get a significant boost. By the end of business hours today, nearly half of China's authorized, government-approved ivory factories and shops will have closed their doors for good. The rest of China's legal trade will be gone by the end of the year. That's a total of 34 factories and 138 shops shut down. Now, this closure follows a resolution at the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species in South Africa last October. According to a new report released in Nairobi this week, this ban on processing and sale of ivory products announced by China could herald the demise of elephant poaching in Africa. The report by Save the Elephant says that the price of elephant tusks has already dropped by 2/3 in the last 3 years. It attributed the fall to negligible demand in affluent societies in the Far East. Let's get the latest details on this. We're now joined by CGTN's Luo Yu in Beijing. Luo, tell us more about this ban and the current situation in the market.
Well, China's State Council issued a historic ban on the processing and trade of ivory by the end of 2017, late last year. March the 31st, which is today, is an important day because between now and then, because today China is shutting 67 ivory factories and retail stores that account for about 1/3 of the total. According to documents released by China's Forestry Administration, the remaining 105 factories and outlets are to be shut by the end of the year. There are also some positive signs appearing in the market as well. Researchers working for the conservation organization Save the Elephants have found that the wholesale price of raw legal ivory in Beijing and Shanghai has dropped by almost 2/3 since China announced plans to close down its domestic market. At the same time, here are some price changes. In early 2014, the average wholesale price of tusks was $2,100 per kilogram. And by February 2017, it was just $730 per kilogram. And it's not only Beijing and Shanghai that are seeing huge price drops. The research team also visited 6 cities whose markets had never been surveyed before, including eastern China's Hangzhou and Nanjing and northeastern city of Shenyang. They also found that the legal trade of ivory is indeed dying out here in China.
Indeed.
Back over to you.
Let's focus on the government's efforts to tackle poaching and smuggling. What are some of the challenges that it faces in essentially eliminating both of those trades?
Well, actually, the government has been partnering with NGOs to promote the idea of wildlife protection, and there have been intensive public awareness campaigns that have involved celebrities, for example, Jackie Chan and Yao Ming. Chinese consumers are, generally speaking, more aware that buying ivory is having a negative impact on Africa's elephant population. So if you live in Beijing, as I do, you can see a lot of these posters in public places across the country, such as airports and subway stations. Meanwhile, China's Forestry Administration told CGTN that this year it will increase investment and launch more training programs for Chinese business entities and citizens in Africa in the area of wildlife conservation. And it will also strengthen law enforcement on illegal ivory trade and smuggling. Special programs have also been put in place to destroy the existing illegal ivory in the country. But challenges still lie ahead. The Wildlife Conservation Society told CGTN that the main challenge comes from smaller Chinese businesses in Africa. The reason is that staff from small and medium-sized companies don't incur much legal cost when they're involved in smuggling and sales of wildlife products. And as China has a 3,000-year tradition of carving ivory, shutting down the industry of the market of ivory completely won't be that easy. And finally, if we look at the bigger picture here, you can still legally deal the ivory in some of the European countries, and there are trade hubs in East and Southern Africa, Southeast Asia, and China's Hong Kong. And after China issued the total ban, industry experts say that Japan is likely to take over from China as the largest legal ivory market. So looking into the future, business entities, individuals, governments, and non-government organizations across jurisdictions must work joint-handedly to preserve the natural beauty as well as elephants in the African continent. Back over to you.
Indeed. We'll leave it there for the time being. Luo Yu in Beijing. Thank you.